Hello, hello, hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started. One story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link. Good morning to you. That's right. Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Lauren Michaels Harris. It is a wonderful day. It is a wonderful day. It is a wonderful day. It is a blessed day. Why? Because here we are, ready to change the world one story at a time. And when we fulfill that promise, which we're doing right now, right here, by coming together, hey, it tells us that everything is possible, right? Everything. So don't forget that. Can I get an amen? That is, oh, my allergies are still. Do you guys have allergies, anybody? If you do, what are you allergic to? Put it in the, if it's not too personal of a question, in the comments. Mine is like ragweed and hay fever. See, and I got to keep, my mom used to put socks on my hands when I was a kid, and if I kept rubbing my eyes, because, horrible. But anyway, I'm doing well. How are you? How was your weekend? Boy, it kind of flew by. What just happened? Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, it kind of flew by. But I got a lot in. I really did. Got some yard work done. We had a mastermind, like barbecue, not really a mastermind where we were sitting around with taking notes and stuff, but some of my coaching clients and just members of the tribe came by Friday, and we hung out. We had a little cookout. It was really nice. It was really nice. Still reeling from the Power of We Symposium, getting ready. But what happened to the weekend? What entire nation happened to the weekend? I don't know, but there's another one right around the corner. All we have to do is get through 5 work days. Who's ready for that? I know I am. I'm headed to sunny Miami, Florida. I wanted to say Miami Beach. I guess you could. To speak this week. I'm going to be gone Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Come home Sunday night. And I'm really excited. My coaching client, Kessa Gooden, this is her first major event, and we are all going down there to support her. So if you want to know more information about that, hit me up, DM me. I'll get you all the deets. What else? Bella Purpose is in effect, as always, here on the show. It's not a clever gimmick. It's not a show prop. I prefer to call it an opportunity, a reminder, if you will, that just like that bell, the truth indeed has a ring to it. So whether it's a comment on the screen, something from our guest, or even in once in a blue moon, moi, hey, lean in, tune in. I know we're busy people, but we should never be too busy to pick up that truth and take it with us. Can I get an amen? Okay. And yeah, that's right. I know somebody's already saying, what is it with this plunging neckline? Right. Well, I put it on because it's in between the weather. It'll be cold in the morning at 5:30 when I go to the health club, but then hot by 10 when I come up out of here. So this way I can adjust accordingly. See? All right. So there it is. Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo, my sidekick. She's been here for 6 years. She's here again today. How you doing, girl? I'm back to flavored coffees, by the way. I tried that plain old Dunkin' Donuts. I don't know what it is. I guess I'm becoming bougie. Oh. No, I took it back upstairs. I'll wait. Something coming. I think I told you guys. Okay, real quick, I'll tell you. Okay. You guys know that on April 4th, my birth mother, Lucille's birthday, Brian, my husband, and I will be in Atlanta, Georgia, where if you're standing, you might want to sit down because you're probably going to fall out when you hear this. I did. But anyway, this shows you how God is and how purpose will find you on purpose and bring things to you that you don't even know what you're going to do with. And that happened to me just a few weeks ago when I was notified that I was being considered, someone had nominated me. I still don't know who that is, to receive an honorary doctorate degree. Now, come on now. I'm saying, 12th grade education. Yeah, I graduated with honors, but couldn't go to college because I was coming out of the foster care system. There was nothing available at the time. And, I've kind of been dragging that behind me all these years. I'm 60 on the 4th of July this year. And then just like that, God takes care of it. What is greater than takes care of it. By this, I am getting it in philosophy. So funny. So it just goes to show you guys, be encouraged. Be encouraged. You have planted seeds that won't grow. Some of them, they're growing already, but you won't see the germination proof. Maybe 5 weeks from when you cast the seeds, 5 months, 5 years. And in my case, 5 decades. But you know what? It's like a watched pot. Do your best, cast those seeds. Don't just set the intention by pulling the arrow back. Let go of that arrow and send that intention. You don't have to know where it's going to hit. Just know that if it's the truth will always, always, always find its mark. So I want you to be encouraged. Your blessings are here. Your blessings are coming. Who today says, I received that? Who today is ready for a blessing? Put it in the comments. I'm ready for a blessing. Put it in the comments. Listen, speak it into existence. The only time you really drop the ball, truly, is when you think things, speak things, and do things that you don't mean. Because then they cannot become meaningful anywhere in the universe. But the moment you mean whatever it is, trust me, it becomes meaningful somewhere in this universe. Thank goodness for that. Right? So, guess who's here? That's right. The prodigal coaching client. Y'all remember the prodigal son story from the Bible? Took his ass on out in the world and came home. I'm just playing. That's kind of what happened here. But he's always been home, always been available. And I'm speaking of Tucker Bearden. A lot of you know him. If you don't, you will today. And just like a son to Brian and I, and one of the most gifted, I guess I should say, speakers I think I've ever met. And that's true. I've said it from day one, and I still say it today. So he's here today, and we're going to get real today because, it's been 4 years since he and I worked together, and a lot has happened. And he stepped back in recently with some questions, and we're going to talk about that because not just Tucker is dealing with this sort of thing. And you guys, we need to, real quick, her name is Sarah. I'll leave her last name out. She goes to the health club where I go. She has a 30-year-old son, and he's in a rehabilitation place right now. Had a huge, what do you call those things? What is that called? When a person starts, what is that thing? seizure. He had a seizure, and it was from stress. And then she kind of hinted that he's been dealing with depression, her son, because of the pressures of, he's 30 years old and he's not where he feels he should be in his career and all that same thing all of us deal with. And anyway, he's going to be in there for a couple of weeks, but let's send prayers out because, when the enemy attacks and tries to get us all alone, all those lies and whispers that you can't, you aren't, you won't be, you can't be, all that crap, this is what can happen. So we want to send light, love, prayers, and plenty encouragement to Sarah and her son, and anyone else who is feeling that. It is Mental Health Month, National Mental Health Month. And so I just want to put this up real quick, just in case, because I've been there. I'm sure many of you have been there. I know our guest today, Tucker, has been there. So, along the bottom right now, if you or someone is feeling that kind of way where you feel like, you just can't do it, you can. And the National Suicide Prevention Hotline was a number I used to have on speed dial. And I still have it handy, just like you see, because it isn't always just about us. Once we get through, we have an obligation to always be there for others who are finding their way through this darkness known as depression. Can I get an amen? Okay, so there's that for you. I want you to do something today. Don't just sit back there doing your nails, eating crumpets, or whatever you're doing. I want you to show me your soul, which means speak up, get involved here today, pour into, and allow yourself to be poured into. One more, amen. Here we go. Okay, here he comes, Tucker. You guys, if you don't know, he is a certified Ziegler Legacy speaker, a keynote speaker. What is that? That's new. A cryptopreneur. Lord Jesus. They're killing me with these names. Author and anxiety expert. Okay. Tucker Bearden lives to inspire generational change by being living proof that a diagnosis does not define who you are or what you're capable of achieving in this world. So without further ado, I'm going to start. No, I'm going to get him in here. We'll watch this clip. I showed it a few weeks ago, and I've been going back to it constantly. The Maya Angelou little clip about living your best life. She did it on that show with Oprah, that Sunday show. And we're going to watch that, and then we're going to talk about everything we've talked about up to this point, or alluded to. See, I have to start speaking less countrified. I always say ghetto because I don't care. I do. But I think I need to start. Good evening. You know what I'm saying? Since I'm going to be Dr. Lauren. I'm kidding. I am not changing, and I'm not putting it on my stuff. I'm just letting y'all know. So you're not going to see on the screen, Dr. Lauren. I'm going to say that till I'm about 85. I'm going to pull it out. Bam! Right. Throw it on them. See, that's what I'm going to do. But anyway, here he comes. Put your hearts into the conversation today. And let's put some hearts on the screen. It's our way of applauding as our guest comes to pour into us, right? Here he comes, you guys. Tucker Bearden.
Hey, brother.
Hi. Oh, either I'm drunk or you're blurry.
I'm blurry.
You're blurry. You're a little blurry, but that's okay. As long as we can hear you. Good morning,
Yes,
Tucker Bearden. How are you and where are you in the world?
Good morning. I am down home in Arkansas right now. Back where I came from.
So what is it with that blurry screen?
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
I only got what I got. You know what I mean?
Okay, so there. That's better. Don't move. So Tucker, let's just get right to it. First, let me say good morning to some people. Lori Whitney, she says, "Hey Tucker, good morning." Why do I always want to go into a Southern accent when I'm around you?
You become what you surround yourself with. I figure.
I guess so. Sherry McQueen, good morning. Oh, Isabel Camacho Black. Hey, how are you? It's so nice to see you. Okay, if I've appeared a bit shocked, I'm over it. I'm glad you're here. It dawned on me, I haven't seen you in a minute. Tia Rogers, good morning. She says, great Monday, everyone. Have a blessed, amazing week. Yes. And who's Mr. Guru? That must be Tucker, because this show can't be me.
Christopher
says he receives his blessing. Robert Brooker receives his blessing. Sharon McQueen is ready for her blessing. So is Tucker. Who else? Put it in the comments if you didn't put it in there yet. Let me tell you something, y'all. It's a real thing, speaking things into existence. Tucker, so what have you been doing over the last 4 years? Give us a quick Reader's Digest recap.
Trying to find my way, brother. I mean, that's the shortest version of it. But to give a little detail, I mean, where I started. I was speaking.
Tell them where you started, in case they don't know.
Well, so give everybody an idea of those of y'all that don't know who I am. I have a form of autism called Asperger's, and in its shortest sense, it hinders. It makes communication very difficult. And over time, I had to find ways to reprogram the subconscious mind so that I can actually have a conversation with people and in turn do what I fell in love with, which is speaking on stage. I met Lauren through a Facebook post, and I ended up speaking on his very first event in Vegas. Well, how many years was that? 4 years or 5 years ago?
That was actually 5
years ago. And then I fell off the pony wagon for a little while there, but now I'm back. I'm back to doing what I love, inspiring people and helping people. I just had to find my way. I wanted to speak, but we all know speaking, it requires travel, and travel's expensive. And that was really, I had to find my way financially, and I had to get my head right, because we all have to grow. Regardless of what your dreams are, you may not be ready for them yet. Do
you mind if I share? Do you remember exactly what you, or pretty close to exact, what you texted me the other day, which kind of led to you being here today?
All right, go ahead, buddy.
Okay. Where'd you send it? Was it Messenger?
Text message.
It was a text message. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm gonna find that real. Okay, here we go. So you guys, Tucker reached in and he said to me, "Is this you?" Yeah, it is.
I'm not sure.
Oh, here it is. Oh, this is something else. I'm looking at all this stuff, man.
I need to
here all the way back from 2016?
Oh Lord!
Oh, look at what you said. Merry Christmas. Oh, okay. No, it wasn't there.
It was in Messenger. I apologize. Look at me telling lies over here.
Okay, so let me pull that. Oh, here it is. Okay, so Tucker reached in and he goes, because a memory came up where we were coaching 4 years ago, and he said, "Oh, I can't believe it's been 4 years." And I commented, "No, I can't believe it either." He goes, "How do you know what the point of your story is?" I keep asking myself this question, and I just don't know. Someone asked me, "What do you teach?" And I didn't even have an answer. My story is one of overcoming, but what is the point of it? What am I teaching people? This is bothering me to my core. Do people listen to me because of how I deliver, which you taught me to do, or do they listen because of what I have to say? I know you don't like to take... Oh, I can't read that part. I know you don't like to take my money, but brother, I'll pay you to help me figure this out. I guess I'll just read it in context. I overcame anxiety and made it to the stage, but there has to be more to this story. And yes, there's always more to the story. And that's what we want to talk about. So before we get started, I want to share this piece that I was mentioning earlier. And I love it because, Maya Angelou, you're familiar with her, right, Tucker?
Of course.
Okay. Now, she was an incredible woman. She left so much content, but this is entitled The Best Advice that Dr. Maya Angelou ever left. And so I was like, what? So here, let's take a look.
In 2000, when you were 72, I interviewed you for the magazine. I asked you if you considered yourself wise. And at the time you answered, well, I'm en route.
That's true.
And how would you answer that now?
I'm en route.
I'm
en further along than I was. But I'm still en route. Mm-hmm. I don't know when I know enough. I know a lot, and I'm grateful for that. I know enough to try to live what I know.
Mhm.
Now that's a lot,
Whoa, that's a lot.
but I still don't have it all.
What do you think that you, Maya Angelou, everybody who quotes you and I quote you and then they quote me to you and all, what do you think is the best piece of advice you've given?
Well,
Hmm.
Well, I'm thinking that the best advice I've ever given, I hope, was that which I gave to my son when he was growing up. He said, I don't have any friends. How can I get some friends? And although I was very young, I told him two things. I told him, in order to get a friend, you have to be a friend. Be ready to be a friend. And also, I told him, there's a place in you that you must keep inviolate. You must keep it pristine, clean, so that nobody has the right to curse you or treat you badly. Nobody, no mother, father, no wife, no husband, nobody. Because that may be the place you go to when you meet God. You have to have a place that you say, stop it, back up.
Not
You
here
must
anymore.
not, no.
No.
Absolutely. And that's one I told you 25 years ago.
Mm.
Say no when it's no.
Yeah.
Say so. Back it up. Because that place has to remain clean and clear.
And that has to be a place within yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. That is the best advice. I know everybody who's watching is.
Oh,
There it is.
You gotta shake that one off a little bit.
I'm telling you, the reason I chose that piece to kick this interview and this conversation off today was because I believe that is exactly why so many get to a place and then we just keep turning around in the circle. It's like that TEDx red circle that they make them stand in. You can't get out of it. You can't walk out of it. But it is because you don't want to, because that is a sacred space. Each of us should create and cultivate a sacred space. And I believe that's what Maya was talking about there, because that is where what is greater than us can bring us what we need before we even know we need it. So, Tucker, can you kind of share with everybody when you said this shook you to your core? Exactly what does that mean? What was happening? What were you, were you scratching your head? Were you pacing the floor? Could you not sleep? You went to sleep with it, woke up with it. How did it look to you so that you knew, I'm supposed to do something right now that clearly I'm not doing, and I need to find out what that something is? How did you get to that spot? And now what are you going to do with that knowledge?
That's a great question, Lauren. So I was working on a talk. Because the past few months, I felt it irking at my spirit that I'm not doing what I'm on the path, but I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, because I love to speak. So I was like, you know what? I might as well sit down and start rewriting a talk so that when it happens, I'm prepared. And I've got a talk that's coming up. It's June 17th. I'm 17th, 18th, 19th. I'm doing an event in Montana, and I wanted to deliver something that's going to bring immense value. Now, in the past, when I gave my talks, they were always telling my story, and people love to hear my story because it's very inspiring. But what was really bothering me was not understanding what it was I was actually relaying, because I get on stage, and I put on a good show, and I tell my story, and due to how you taught me to deliver, I get standing ovations 9 times out of 10, and that's cool. But why does it happen? Why? It was bothering me. Like, what aspect of my message is touching people in their spirit so much that they can't help but to jump out of their seats and scream?
Mm-hmm.
And that bothers me, because it's great to have an inspiring story, but you can't sharpen the blade until you find the edge.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? You got to know what's cutting. And I got this big old sword and I can put in work with it, but I want to know what part of it is cutting with purpose. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense, because it's like, you know, if people, those of us, and that's almost all of us, have come from a background of some sort of a religious springboard, if you will, into where we find ourselves today, whether that be a spiritualist, a minimalist, agnostic, or whatever the case may be. A lot of us came through that organized religion door. But one of the things about it is, you know, when people go to church or a place of worship, many times you hear them say they go for their bread. They go there to be fed. And so I always imagine what I am offering in every way, not just when I'm hitting somebody's stage like later this week, but when I'll go to the grocery store on my lunch break today. You know, I'm standing in line, like when I was leaving the health club this morning. And usually when I have time, because Sarah likes to talk, but she's always sitting in her car waiting for her preferred parking space because she knows what time this person is going to leave. So she's always sitting there. And so some mornings I can go over to her car, and some mornings I'm in a rush. Today I was in a rush. And she got out of her car and she came over to mine. And we sat there for 10 minutes. It didn't make me late. It didn't change anything. So I wasn't behind like I thought. I was right where I was supposed to be. But I knew right then and there that was the same obligation and responsibility to be there, not appear rushed, like, hurry up. Don't you see I'm trying to get in the car? I even got out of the seat and stood up and shut the door so she could feel comfortable sharing what I knew she needed to share, because she has never gotten out of her car and walked over to mine. So what I'm saying, my point in all that is, I believe that when we realize that we are doing what we do in front of a million eyes or whatever, we are doing when there's only one set of eyes. In other words, just one person. Even when I tell you guys all the time, I don't pay any attention to those numbers. How many posts, how many likes, how many shares, how many people are watching right now, because I know that once the truth is out there, it will find its mark. So my point is, the plate of food, when we look at what we offer the world from 1 to a million, you cannot when you lift the cover off, you know how they have those big silver things, and like rich people, and they pull it off and there's the food and they go, ooh, that looks delicious. What do you call it? What is it? Well, we can't say, your guess is as good as mine. It smells good. Well, what's in it? You know what I'm saying? And I believe that's kind of where you're at. So
it is. It makes so much sense. It's such a perfect visualization of what it is. Like, I'm bringing a 5-course meal. They're like, what's in it? And I'm like, I think there's bacon.
See, and the thing about it is, we cannot be afraid to taste our own food. Because if you don't remember the recipe or you don't remember what's in it, then before you offer to somebody, go back around the corner, dig your finger in it, or whatever you got to do. Okay. Because you should at least identify one of the flavors, and that will lead you to the other flavor, if that makes any sense.
It does.
Okay. It does. Okay. So, let me ask you this question, Tucker. Why do you think it's important that you understand what it is within you that actually resonates within people? Why do you think that's so important, and it's kind of poking at you?
Because it gives you something to refine. You can refine your message. You can refine the way that you deliver. You can refine the way you move your hands and how you look at an individual in the crowd and move back and forth. And you can master all these things. But until you know why you touch people, you will never master yourself. And that is or your message, my bad. And that's the way that I mean, I could be wrong. I often am, but that's what I believe.
So let me ask you this. How much of your message, and you guys answer too if you feel so inclined, how much of your message, how much of your purpose do you believe or feel comes through you as opposed to how much comes from you? And there is a difference. There's the stuff that we bring, and we know this is my best. I get it. Boom, boom, boom. But there's also those secret recipe pieces, those flavors, those spices that come from a different kitchen, and they just find their way into the pot, into the mix, into the recipe. So how much would you say if you had to say, when you sit down? Because I believe I never have to come up with anything. I don't think.
That's the thing, is it's already there, and you taught me that a long time ago. Is that the truth is there? You can hear it ringing in the background no matter what you try to paint. Okay, so I believe I know that all statistics are made up, but I think it's like 90-10. 10% of what happens to you and 90% of what comes through you, because your story, you don't have to come up with your story. It's there. Okay. It happened. All right. You may not have enjoyed it. It may not have been fun, but it happened. And so you don't have to come up with that. But what you deliver is you translating what came through you. It's that. It's like a radio. You're like a radio antenna. It can be the biggest, shiniest, nicest radio antenna around, but until it relays the signal that's sent to it, it's just a big shiny antenna.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you something. So how often, and try to be as real as you can be. Let's go back to where you were when we first met, and then let's look at who you are today. And comparatively speaking, how often do you find yourself today comparing yourself to the peers that you look up to, or the people who do what you do, that do what we do now compared to when you began? Do you feel like you're behind, or I didn't grow as fast as this person or that person? Or, because oftentimes we turn the knife on ourselves when we compare. And because, man, look at her. She's out there doing all this stuff. She started after I did, or whatever, How come it's not happening to me? What am I doing wrong? That sort of thing. Do you find yourself dealing with any of that when you compare?
Well, I actually used to do, so to answer your question properly, back then it was a horrible trait. I did it all the time. I was that guy that went and looked at all the other speakers and I was trying to compare apples to oranges.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh. Was that him freezing or me? I think it's him. I'm going to say this while we're waiting on him to thaw out. Another thing, you guys, which, here, I'll take him out until he clears up. Another thing that is, hold on, it's coming. I don't want to throw any old turd out there as far as how to explain something. I'm waiting for it to come through. Okay, is he back? Okay.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, no. You're good.
Cool. So back then, I was a little seed and trying to compare myself to oak trees. They had time to grow. They had time to reach up and reach their potential. So now, at one point, yes. The answer is yes at one point. Now, every now and then, it slips in there and bugs me. But no, I had to, I wanted to be farther than where I am, but I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. It took me time to grow.
Exactly. When you say farther than where I am, what does that mean?
Exactly. Because here's the thing. Is if you can go out there and you can put that little seed in the ground and you can yell at it and go, hey, look at that tree over there. That tree's already that big. Why ain't you that big? But it ain't gonna make a difference. The seed needs its time. It has to be watered. And that was my thing.
Right. Exactly right. So let me throw this in right now. And all of you, every question that comes out is for all of us. Let's clear that up. So either if you don't drop it in the comments, make sure you drop it inside your spirit, drop it on the table in front of you, whatever you do. But ask and then we're going to be asked and then answer. So I want us all to think about this. How much do you deal? How prevalent is this in your world? Lack of patience. Because that's usually when we start comparing. When we feel like somebody else is moving faster than us. Hey, here it is 4 years later. Da 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 da. How do you feel you're dealing with a lack of patience? Do you believe you're being patient, that you're waiting on it to manifest or to present itself? How do you deal with that?
I believe that the universe blesses in the time that it allocates. I can't rush the good Lord, the universe, the energy, the ether. It's gonna rock at its own pace, baby. And that's all we can do is we can ride the wave, or you can try and fight the current. So no, I used to be very impatient. I used to like, I'll be honest with you. I don't know where I heard this, but I wish that I could tell you. It may have been a message that came through me somewhere. I'm not sure, but I heard somebody say, "You do not receive in this world what you deserve. You receive in this world what you are currently capable of managing." Mm-hmm. See, back then, I thought I deserved to speak on stage just because I watched TED Talks, I practiced in my room, and I could give myself chills. But I wasn't capable of managing it then, even if I thought I was. Mm-hmm. and that was why I had a mental breakdown, like when you at a certain point, and then I hopped out of the scene for a while there. It's because I was trying to take on more than I was currently capable of managing. See, I felt I deserved it, but there's a difference in deserving something and being able to handle it. It's kind of like being prepared and and not being prepared for an event that comes. I had that happen with TEDx, and it ripped my heart out. My dream was to speak on the TEDx stage, and TEDx reached out to me personally, or one of the TEDx foundations, or however that works. They reached out to me personally after seeing something that I put on Facebook and asked me to come speak on the TEDx stage. And I was like, awesome. Then they gave me a topic that I've never spoken on before, and I tried to integrate my story into it, and I wasn't prepared for that specific scenario. So in turn, I didn't speak on the stage that I've been working this whole time to get to.
And that happens a lot for a lot of us. That's a great point right there for us to move into the next segment. And when we return from this short break, that's exactly where we're going to go. We're going to talk about things that we do. We pour a lot of ourselves into. What do you do when they don't actually produce the outcome that you've expected? Is it a loss? Do you chalk it up, write it off? Or is there really something buried, some treasure deep within the experience? That and more when we return. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Hello, hello, hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? Seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link.
Welcome back to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Lauren Michaels Harris. It's a wonderful day. Welcome to Monday, the 16th of May. Tucker Bearden's our guest. He's back. I wanted to go into this next section. I said before we left, I threw this out. What do we do when things don't actually produce everything that we expect on the other end? In other words, I want us to understand. Let's unpack this. Let's peel the onion if we could. Because oftentimes we walk away from things because we saw one thing and then received another. And then we walk away and leave it back there when all along there is hidden value somewhere deep within inside the experience. So let's go to that TEDx opportunity. So what did you immediately do with that once it didn't happen? Did you look at it as a failure? Did you look at it as, oh, great? How did you monetize the opportunity? Even though you might think you didn't get the opportunity, but you did, because it should have made you think about something. Talk about that if you could.
I'll say this. When I first got into the industry, it would have crushed me beyond measure. I mean, I would have, I don't know. I probably would have cried. But I guess due to just surrounding myself with the kind of people that we do in our industry and reading the books that I have and studying self-development the way I have, when it happened, the first thing that came to mind is that's what you get for not being prepared. Really, that's what you get. I mean, because I knew in my heart someday I was going to speak on the TEDx stage, and I thought my story was the message to be delivered from that stage, and it might still be at some point in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't prepared. That old saying, it's I don't know who said this, but it's better to be prepared for something that hasn't happened than to have something happen and you not be prepared for it.
Right.
And that's what happened. And that's what came to me is, okay, in the future, it was a kick in the butt is what it was. It's something I needed. I needed that to happen. I
Uh-oh. Okay, he froze. While we're waiting for him to thaw out, I'll put him down here. What do you guys think about that? Let me check. The hidden value that comes. Lori Whitney, she goes, my goal is to pay off my she shed. Next month, we were watching a commercial last night about a she shed. My vision brought it into my life, my favorite place to meditate. Okay. Oh, thank you, Sherry McQueen. There's the P3 link if you guys want to sign up to come to the free preview. Waiting on Tucker. He's back. I see. Facebook user, good morning. Wade, how are you? Patience, what is that? Well, you better order some off of eBay or someplace because trust me, you're going to need it. Tucker, welcome back.
Sorry, I guess it's because I'm in the middle of nowhere and
probably.
I'm doing the best I can with my Wi-Fi.
No worries. I want to say something here. I want to ask something here. Talk to people about, do you know the difference between your message and your purpose? Or do you believe they are one and the same?
No, I don't believe they're one and the same.
Exactly. Because the reason I brought that up is because when you said, oh, my message, my story didn't fit, story/message, pretty interchangeable there, did not fit into what they wanted me to speak on. But our purpose in this world is always a one-size-fits-all. Mm-hmm. It is. It fits into every single thing. It does. And how is that even possible? Because our purpose is our truth. Mm-hmm. The truth is the one thing in the universe that I know for a fact will never change.
And the thing about it is that people don't realize about that is that your truth isn't always your story.
Exactly right. So how do you feel the difference is? Go ahead, speak to that.
So one thing that I think that people get twisted is solidifying purpose. People believe they're born for one purpose. Well, a lot of people do. They believe, well, my purpose is one thing and I have to find it. And I personally don't believe that's the case. I believe that it fluctuates over time. Your purpose today may not be your purpose tomorrow, and that's perfectly okay. That was a bit of a tongue twister. So your message, you're like, see, for instance, like one of my biggest purposes is to speak to people in a way that changes their life, because I heard somebody speak and it changed my life, and I want to do that for people.
Mm-hmm.
But my specific message or my story may not be the catalyst for that. See, my story can inspire 50% of the crowd, 10% of the crowd, 1% of the crowd, whatever. But each person needs something individually. Now, if your purpose is to help change their life, that don't have to be done by using your story.
Mm-hmm.
But your story refined you and prepared you to use your purpose. Does that make sense?
Of course it does.
Mm-hmm.
Of course it does. So what does a person do? This is a rhetorical question. What does one do when they find themselves at a crossroad and every sign is a question mark, where you're like, well, wait a minute. Am I where I'm supposed to be? Am I doing what I'm supposed to do? What is my message? What is da-da-da-da, on and on and on? How do we get to that ooey gooey chewy center, which is our truth? Put it in the comments. How many of you out there believe you know undeniably what your purpose is in this world? Because I have a lot of people come to me, as you saw in the P3 promo, and it's true. They come and they feel like they have nothing to offer. They feel like they don't know why they're even here. And it is a common thing, especially now as we're finding our way further down the road, hopefully soon to be known as post-COVID. A lot of people are afraid that they're losing, for whatever reason, the ability to dream. So did any of that cross your world, your world, when you got to this point and you were like, how come I can't answer this? Were you ever afraid of losing this sense of purpose? Because there is purpose, but there's also a sense of purpose. Yes, just like there's joy, there's love, but there's an essence of joy, an essence of love. So there's a sense of purpose, and then there's purpose. Sense is that thing like, I got a feeling. Something tells me. I bet I could. Talk about that.
Well, the answer to your question is yes, wholeheartedly. And that is, and I say that because just about 5 or 6 months ago, I caught myself. I had this time frame where I went through thinking, am I really a speaker? Like I speaking on stage is what I love. And it's not just on stage, just to people in general. I love inspiring people and sharing things that change lives. But while sitting there trying to find the reason for my talk, I caught myself thinking, is this really what you're supposed to be doing? Are you really as great as everybody says you are? Or are you some autistic kid that overcame anxiety and people cheer for you because they feel sorry for you? And I had to get real with myself and ask that. And I realize now the answer is a little bit of both, actually. Let's be honest. Like you got to call the kettle what it is.
True.
And that's just, so yeah, I did. I got to a point where I was like, wow, like, is this really my purpose?
Okay.
Like, am I good enough to do this?
So let's talk right here. Let's use the seed analogy, shall we? Where everything that we have that can make a positive impact or change, or leave something that someone can find later along the journey. So we look at all this as seeds. So ask yourself right now, do you plant seeds for one season, or do you plant seeds for a lifetime? Think about that for a second. Because see, if you think that the seeds you're supposed to plant at that TEDx talk were just for that TEDx talk, that's here today, gone tomorrow. The seeds of purpose are not like seeds in the garden that we put out here, that we tangibly go and pull and pick and cook and eat. The seeds of purpose, when we cast them, we can cast seeds of purpose that, like when Martin Luther King said, see a day, or I dream of a day where little black boys and little white boys and little black girls and little white girls will da 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 da. Now, I may not get there with you because he already knew I am casting seeds that will germinate and grow to their fullness, those oaks that you spoke of earlier, Tucker. And it may take more than I have as far as time. So I want to ask again, do you plant seeds that are only intended for one season because you want to be there? You want to see it. It has to give me something from it. Or are you willing to say, well, these are seeds that may grow 50 years from now. They may grow in another part of the world where I never even get to visit, but I know they will grow when they find that fertile soil. So how do you feel about something like that, Tucker? And same question to all of you out there.
So I lost signal for just a second, but in what is can you tell me the short version of the question?
The short version is, you know, sometimes I believe that when we don't feel we got what we deserved or needed or we're going for, that we haven't done enough. We haven't done our best following the 4 agreements. So I wonder, do you believe that seeds that we plant can be for a lifetime, which means you plant it and it may not be in your lifetime. It may be in the next lifetime. It may be. So you have to, do you feel that that is a reality? And have you ever considered that?
That's an inevitable reality. That's when I tell people that my purpose is to create generational change for others. What I mean by saying that is I want to deliver a message for you that inspires you so much that you go home and teach that to your children, and your children are touched by it so much that they teach their children and their children's children. So therefore the change and the impact that you're having isn't something that you have to see. And that's something that people that are in our industry, or even in the industry of self-development at all, that's something that a lot of people don't think about. When you make a video, whenever you give a talk, whenever you share a message with somebody, you're not always going to see the impacts that you make. And the greatest impacts you make are the ones you never get to even know about.
Right.
You know?
Ed, oh, there he goes, freezing again. While he's out, thawing out. A lot of thawing out going on here today. Hey, Lori Whitney, I want to talk about this real quick. Get rid of the seeds that will bring you weeds. Impossible. There will always be weeds wherever there are seeds, just as there will always be patience wherever there's a healer, just as there will always be students wherever there's a teacher. There should be. If you're a gardener and you plant seeds, do you really believe you can ever go out and there will be no weeds?
There we go.
You see, if you were a teacher, why be surprised when you open up the classroom and it's full of students? Or the doctor who opens up the waiting room and it's full of patients. One comes with the other. When you pull, let me tell you what, when I learned that, it was a few years ago and I talked about it on Facebook. I was out doing the beds, the flower beds, before they came and put mulch down, right? So I had gloves, but I used the gloves for those great big old things that were pulling out. And then I saw some little bitty things. I was like, well, I don't need the gloves on for this because I need to get down there at the root, with my fingers to pull it out. And it was one of those thistle things that you break as the milk. And those little things were so fine in my fingers that I used without the glove for like 3 days. Every time you couldn't even see them, but they were there. And that's when Greater Than spoke to me and said, see, never underestimate the destructive force of a weed. Just you're no threat to me. I'm taking my gloves off, right? Okay, so what my point in that analogy is, expect the weeds, because how would you know when you're nurturing your plants? It's more than just watering. You got to fertilize. You got to do all these things. When you're a teacher, it's more than just showing up. You got to prepare. You got to have a lesson plan. You got to grade the stuff. You got to hand it back. You got to have parent-teacher conferences. You got to put somebody in the hall every now and then. You got to send them to the principal's office. Same thing with doctors. You gotta prep, you gotta do research, you gotta make a diagnosis, you have to do follow-up, aftercare. Look at all the components. So why would it be when we're working with change within each other that we feel like it should always be a one and done, or we did something wrong? Now you sure picked some good times to freeze up. Now I got to put him down there inside the thaw-out cage again. Is he back? What do you guys think about that? Wade says, our services and gifts. So if we attach the need to have something from that service, is it truly a service? Our services and gifts. Oh, I think he means our services are gifts. So if we attach the need to have something from that service, is it truly a service? Well, I expect something in return because I believe in the two-way feed. I believe I'm there to deliver, and I believe I'm there to pick up, because I don't ever want to think that it's just about me giving them. Mm-hmm. I always look at it, if it's a kindergartner. I learned that. Remember that story I told you with that one time when I was first starting and I had a school and the kids were in the gym and the kindergartners were right in front of me and everybody sitting on the floor, Indian style, in the first grade all the way back to sixth grade. And I told the kindergartners in the front to close their hands. I told everybody, close your fists and have your drink, hold your drink like this. And I don't know what that was. And so anyway, I did that. And it was 40 minutes into the 1 hour when I looked down and one of the little girls in the front row was still doing it. She was squeezing and I was like, oh, I'm sorry, honey, you can stop, this and the other. My point in that is people will take what we offer in many cases literally. Mm-hmm. From the rooted to the tutor, literally. And so the reason the two-way feed is important, see, I learned from that kindergartner. Don't start something without a stopping point. Because, if you tell somebody drive right down that road and you don't tell them about the cliff, but after 50 feet of the orange sign, you want to go to the right because there's a drop off there. Have you really been of service when they go flying off? You think you were being of service. So what I'm saying is we need to be complete. And Lori says, I'm ready, got my tools. She's a plucker. I got fast fingers. Okay. So Tucker, what do you feel about that? About what we heard up there about, it just being like, if you need something from it, then it's not really a service.
Well, I'm not sure I understand the question. I guess is it saying like if you need to be paid for it?
Is it really being of service? As if being of service means, well, do it. I get it unconditionally, freely, but blessings beget blessing. Here, I know how to answer this. Here it comes in 3, 2, 1. Here it is. The litmus test of purpose is that and this means, how do you know what you're doing is within purpose? I know this for a fact. You'll know you're within purpose because no matter what, if it's a little small thing in the grocery store, if it's a big thing on the world stage, whatever it is you do within purpose will always leave a mark on everything and everyone it touches that makes them want or desire more. Mm-hmm. Including you.
I agree.
More opportunities, you're going to get more headaches. You're going to have more sleepless nights, but you're going to have more capacity to grow, more capacity to touch and serve. So how do you feel about that?
Well, I it's like this, a lot of people say, a lot of people misquote the Bible and say money is the root of all evil. And that doesn't say that anywhere. It says the love of money is the root of all evil. And yep. So it's like this, there's nothing wrong with needing or asking for something in return for your services, because you have just as much of a right to make a commission off of somebody as they have the right to use your service or buy your product. Right. So, and here's the thing is I'll use the show I used to run, Stay Humble, Hustle Hard Live. Let's use that for an example. I didn't ask for anything in return. All I wanted to do was put people's message out there to the world, and that was great. But what happened? I ended up having a mental breakdown because all I did was serve and I never received anything in return. And in turn, I drained myself to the point where I couldn't serve anyone. So you're either going to receive something in return and be able to further your service, or you're eventually going to run the damn tank dry.
That's right. And the saying is, my cup runneth over, not my cup runneth out.
Yeah. Like, how you going to pay for the gas to get to the event to help them if they ain't no gas in the tank?
There it is. There it is. Listen, I just can't. I'm looking at the clock. I can't believe it. It's 9:03. We've gone over by 3 minutes today, but hey, that was on purpose. On the bottom of your screen, scrolling right now, is a place where you can find all of Tucker's connectors all at once. And we also, I'm going to put it there, and then we'll drop it into the chat at the conclusion here in a moment. Tucker, I want to thank you for coming in today. That is one humdinger of a link. Woof.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's my virtual business card, and I don't have like a tiny.
Okay. I'm dropping it in the comments right now. So there it is, you guys. Now you can go ahead and just click on it and head over and check out everything Tucker. Listen, get out there today. Be the change you want to see in the world. Expect a miracle. Expect whatever you need to be somewhere in your space today. Take it moment by moment. The Doobie Brothers said it best. Minute by minute, take it. Some people say, I remember back in the day when I was finding my way through darkness, and sometimes I still do. Many times I still do. And, people used to say, how to live a purpose-filled life. And you remember Dr. Dwayne Dyer has that book, A Purposeful Life. And I was like, wait a minute, that's big. That's a big piece of the pie. I need a little nibble because I can't even find it within myself today to live hour by hour. I can't do it minute by minute because something's trying to turn the knife on me, get me to turn the knife on myself. And I had to learn how to make it from one moment into the next. Let me tell you something about from point A to point B. Point A is where you are right now. Point B is the moment right after it. So if you want to go from here to there, you just did it. You just did it again. And you just did it again. Start there. Be grateful from moment to moment. And you'll be grateful for most of your life, if not all of it. That is a promise. Listen, Tucker Bearden, thank you so much. I'm glad that whatever came in and said, hey, it's time to get back to it, came in and said, it's time to get back to it. We're a family. We're here for you. I love what you do. Don't worry. We're going to get there together. So you guys look forward to when Tucker comes back. He's going to have a lot to share with you. And anything, there he froze. So I know there. Say goodbye before we get out of here.
Hey, man, thank you so much for having me on here, brother. And y'all remember, happiness comes from the moment. Joy is found within the journey, not the destination. You're going to get there, but it's down the road.
There it is. You guys, this has been one humdinger of an illuminated conversation. I couldn't think of a better way for us all to start the week off, the day off, the next moment off than with each other. Follow the promises, keep them close, and never, ever, never let the negativity get you all alone. We're here, and we can do things together a lot better. Have a great day. Be the change you want to see in the world. I'll see you out on the front porch tomorrow morning, again, God willing, at 8 a.m. Central for our next episode of Bathrobe. Bye-bye.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind. But you